Well, we're just a minute past 7 o'clock, so let's get rolling tonight. Thank you, everyone, for coming out for our first in a series of Unearthed Coaches Corners for the Unearthed season. I'm Louis Rubo. I'm the Team Development Education Specialist with First Nevada. I am also the Program Delivery Partner for First Lego League. So I'm kind of wearing two hats tonight simultaneously as I take you through the adventures of what the Unearthed season is going to be like. The idea of these Coaches Corners is that it'll give us a time for us to come together for 1 hour, and I will share some best practices, remind you of some administrative tasks, but also give you the opportunity to ask questions and get clarification. And so it's just another way for us to have a touch point with the community and make sure you're supported in your needs as a coach for First Lego League. If you're just joining us, if you wouldn't mind in the chat, just put like your first name and either your team number or what school you're associated with. We're taking attendance, not that you'll get graded on this, but for our impact report with First Nevada, we just like to know what teams have been able to attend these and if they are finding these helpful. So we are recording this. I did hit play already on the recording. So if you wouldn't mind, you can turn off your cameras and mute your mics unless you're asking a question. We are a small, intimate family here, so you'll have an opportunity to unmute yourself. And also just remember your core values. We've never had an issue here, but just a reminder that the core values not only apply to our team members, it also applies to us as coaches and mentors as well. And so just be courteous of each other and addressing questions and giving best advice. But I've never had an issue. You guys are wonderful coaches, and just want to say that, though, and how much I appreciate all that you're doing. So being the first Coaches Corner of the season, I know I've got new coaches on here who have great questions, who are just venturing into the first programs for the first time. I will tell you that first year is overwhelming. And to be honest, we all have been there to some extent. It is feel like you're drinking from a fire hose. My best advice is just keep going. Even though it is a bit overwhelming, you're still drinking some water. Just know you're not going to capture it all. That's okay. What will happen is with time, everything will get easier, especially when you come back for years 2 and 3. It gets easier and easier. It's just that first year I know can be a bit overwhelming, but just take in what you can. You know, when you come up to a roadblock, always reach out to us. We're happy to answer questions for you and help you get through that. The Coaches Corners here are really my opportunity to say, okay, of all that noise you're hearing, this is the true music that you want to listen to. Everything else can be distracting. And so we're just going to focus on what is the absolute essentials, which is one of my main goals here with these Coaches Corners. One of my favorite sayings from our old friend Caroline, who has now moved to Colorado and fully retired. Caroline said this to me once, and I loved it. Everybody has to have a rookie year. And so we've all been there. Every one of us who has coached or been involved in some way with our teams, you have to start somewhere. And it can feel a little much. And especially with first programs where we spend so much time between kickoff and our first competition kind of working on our own in an island, we don't get a lot of feedback as we would going through the season if you're, say, playing a sport where you can go and compete and then come back and practice, compete, practice, compete, practice. First is a little different where we build and build and build and build and then finally get to compete at the end of the season. So it is a long season, but eventually you'll get through it. My goal here is to support you in making sure you're having fun, one of the core values, as well as I want to make sure your team is ready to get the most out of the final competition of the season. Keep your head up, get through it, and then you'll find that last event is just the best part of the season when you get an opportunity to be around the other teams, the ability to see the kids actually working at the table with the referees or in judging, telling the judges the amazing work they've done. So keep your head up. Ask questions. We're here to support you. This is a very supportive community. There is no dumb questions. That if you have that question, I'm sure 25 to 50% of you all share that same question. So do not hesitate to ask. Along those lines tonight, as I'm talking, feel free to throw your questions in the chat. There are a few points along the way where I'll pause and ask for questions. So either way, throw them in the chat or feel free to hold on to them until I have one of those moments to pause and ask away. All of our resources are available to you. So including this presentation, we have a Google Drive folder that we put them into. So it's kind of empty at the moment because we are starting the new season, but I have already uploaded these slides. So if you were to follow that QR code there, you would be able to access these slides right now. The version of the slides I put into that folder are annotated. So you will get not only the slide, you will get my notes along with all the hyperlinks or any connections that you need there. So if you do miss this, if you're listening to a recording or maybe you're more of a visual reader type learner, you have that option there. Also, when we do our workshops, all of the resources that we have from the workshops will also end up in the same folder. It is an evergreen folder, so if you're a veteran coach, we use the same folder year after year. So if you have a bookmark, great. Just keep referring to it as the season progresses. So I'm trying some new things with my slides. If you've been with me before, I am trying some new slides out. This is one of my new slides here. This is our roadmap, if you will, of our adventure today. So I have 4 main topics I want to talk about. The first is I want to just explain First Nevada and what we have as a resource for you as a coach. I then want to dive into, I gotta stop saying dive in, I gotta start saying dig into the challenge resources that are available to you, as well as the team resources. And then I'm going to wrap up tonight with administrative tasks that you should be doing at this early point in the season. So these are my 4 main points. After each section, I will pause and open up the floor for questions. So at that time, you can unmute yourself, or in between, feel free to just go ahead and throw them in the chat. So as I promised, our first section I want to cover is what resources First Nevada provides our coaches. Besides the Coaches Corners here, we also have a number of other resources available to you. Our goal is to make this a smooth and possibly the most fun you've had working way through the season. Like I said, it can be challenging. We're here to help you to make sure you get the most out of it, as well as your students. Before I really get deep into what exactly we offer in terms of support, I just need to step back and actually explain what is First Nevada. So First Nevada is a nonprofit organization. Our responsibility is to deliver all of the FIRST programs throughout the state of Nevada. So the First Lego League Challenge program that we're talking about tonight is actually only one of multiple programs offered by FIRST. Besides the First Lego League suite, there's also First Tech Challenge and First Robotics Competition. Our role as First Nevada is to deliver these programs to you. And delivery means a number of things. It means not only hosting the competitions, it also means hosting workshops. It also means being a support resource for you if you have a question. It means hosting office hours for you to come ask your questions. It also means producing resources like Slack and Facebook, and as we'll talk about here shortly, the First Nevada app, as ways for you to get your questions answered. Now, one of the most confusing things about First Nevada and who we are and what we do is we aren't the only FIRST organization out there. We have a relationship with what we call FIRST headquarters. They are 2 distinct separate entities. We do have similar branding, which does make things more confusing. The idea, though, is FIRST headquarters is the ones that every year develop the game. They are the ones that define the rules. They're the ones that say which awards we're supposed to hand out. So they're really everything related to development. First Nevada, on the other hand, is a separate nonprofit, and our role, as I explained earlier, is to deliver those FIRST programs to you. What this means is a couple of things. One is both FIRST and First Nevada require some financial support to operate. So as a team, you're going to register your team with FIRST, and you're going to pay a registration fee. And then separately, First Nevada, I was going to ask you to pay a season fee, and that helps us fund our events. So you are going to pay FIRST, well, 2 entities twice, right? You're going to pay FIRST headquarters your registration fee, and you're going to pay First Nevada a season fee. The other important part of this distinction is where do you go to get your questions answered? If you're asking questions related to the rules of the game or clarification about the Unearthed Challenge, you would go to a FIRST resource, and I'll cover those later today. Or if you have a question about events, you would come to First Nevada. Now that might get a little confusing, so you're always welcome to start with us. And if it's even outside our realm, we'll be able to point you to the first resource that might support you, or more than likely, we can just answer it ourselves. So I just want to make that distinction clear. There's First Nevada. We do have an agreement with each other. First headquarters develops the Unearthed game. First Nevada delivers that game to you. So we are two distinct there. And I do want to emphasize as well, we are nonprofit organizations. So a lot of our delivery and development is based on volunteer support. And we're also doing this not for financial gain. We do this because we love it and we love the outcomes that it does produce for our students as well as our mentors. So I have some exciting news to share with you. First off, on the left, that is a picture of me. I've been around for quite some time now. I think this is season 13, 14, 13, 14, I don't know. It's been a while. But this year, we actually have two brand new First Legal League coordinators joining us. So I did allude to earlier, our Northern coordinator, Caroline Hansen, has fully retired and moved to Colorado to be with her grandkids. It's so great. What we've now done is asked our new coordinator, Karen Hesser, to join us. Many of you already know Karen, who have competed in the North. She's been a longtime coach at Smithridge, and so far has been doing a great job, and we're really looking forward to continuing working with her in the North. In the South, we're bringing in Becca Rumsey, who is another amazing person. She has a great organizational background. She's new to First, but has already contributed great insight to everything you do. And you'll start seeing both Karen and Becca at all our events, including the Robot and Day workshop coming up soon. If you have any questions about the programs, you can reach any three of us. I'm happy to answer any of your questions. If you're thinking about an event in the North, reach out to Karen. She would happily answer those questions. If you're heading to an event in the South, Becca's there for you as well to answer all your questions about competing down here. I do want to mention also in passing that we have two what we call First Senior Mentors. We have Nanami Duncan in the North, who many of you have already interacted with. She's a great resource for all your questions as well. And in the South, we have Angelo Morales, who has been with us for a number of years. You usually see him doing the tech at our events. He's also a wonderful resource. So there's plenty of people to reach out to if you have any questions. When in doubt, you can start with me, and I will pass it on to someone else if it's more appropriate, or I might happily quickly answer that question for you. So one of the most important resources I want to start with is our calendar of events. So we are constantly getting new information about our events brought to us as we solidify our venues, as we finalize our schedules, as we put together our roster of teams. Information is constantly being updated. It's happening so fast. The best way for us to communicate that is to put it into a dynamic calendar. And that is our calendar of events. So if you go to the firstnevada.org website, or you can just use the QR code I have there on the screen, it'll take you directly to it. Our calendar of events has listed on it all the events for all of the programs. So for us in this conversation tonight, you would want to look at the red dotted events because those are the First Legal League Challenge events. If you were to click on any of the events, you'll get a pop-up window like I show here. This will have detailed information about the event. It will also include things like links to the registration, or it might include a menu if we have a food truck at an event, or it might have some other relationship or some other idea or information in there for you. I would direct you here, first and foremost, if you have any questions about our events. If things were to change, we would update this here, especially as we get more information. If we have a weather issue, whatever, we'll put it on here first and foremost as our way to communicate the latest information related to an event. So some of the events we do offer, obviously tonight we're doing a Coaches Corner, which is an hour-long webinar designed specifically for you, the coaches. We also have a series of workshops for you coming up as well. Our workshops are designed to be both coaches with the team members, and it's really actually aimed at the team members, with the coaches playing the role as kind of an administrator or someone who's really just doing classroom management alongside us, the instructors. But the workshops are a great opportunity to get hands-on experience, learning about the different parts of the First LEGO League program, as well as really getting the kids inspired for the season. Since our competitions are at the end of the season, this is one of the great times for all of us to get together, say hello, share some hugs, some high fives, make sure the kids are in good position and their questions are answered, and make sure you're in a good position and you're understanding what is needed this season. Here's our calendar. We have 4 coaches corners this year. This one is obviously the first one. We have another one in a couple weeks. We have one in late October. This will be after our scrimmages, but right ahead of our qualifying events that's happened in November. And then December 2nd, we do host a coaches corner really aimed at the championship event in mid-December. In support of you this season, we have the Robot in a Day workshop coupled with the Unearthed Kickoff Celebration. That's on September 20th. On October 7th, we're going to do a virtual evening, 1-hour-long Innovation Project Coaches Clinic. We've done this for a couple of years, so some great feedback. October 4th, we have an in-person Next Level Programming workshop. It's a half-day workshop where we just focus on programming your robot. October 18th, we have our Learn and Play scrimmages. And October 25th, we have something exciting. We've been piloting it down in the southern part. We're now expanding it to the entire state and making it bigger. We have what's called an Innovation Project Share-a-thon. This is an opportunity for you with your team to come together, share whatever status your innovation project in, get some feedback from judges, from STEM professionals, and be prepared more for that qualifier in November. I'll talk more about this later on tonight, as well as in future Coaches Corners. These are all of our in-person or virtual meetings going on. In addition to this, I also want to make sure everyone knows that we are offering office hours. If you go to the First Nevada calendar of events, you'll see the office hours posted on there. There was one this evening right before here. These are great drop-in times where if you need some help and you just want a quick answer, like Teresa, you were asking earlier about your robot syncing, that's a great question to take the office hours. Or if you have a question about how the robot rules are, whatever you have, take them to office hours. So here's our schedule for competition this year. We are going to basically repeat last year. So we have all of our qualifiers in November. This year, the dates are November 8th, 15th, and 22nd. We are not going to be hosting an event in Elko this year. Unfortunately, a number of teams, it was hard to justify continuing in Elko this particular year. So for the teams in the north, we're going to have a qualifier in Carson City, and then we will have one in Sparks. So November 8th, we'll only have the one qualifier here in Las Vegas. And then the 15th will be in the north and the south, and on the 22nd, the north and the south. Our state championships will stay in mid-December, about 30%, give or take. It depends on the final registration numbers that we'll see in early October. We'll figure out exactly how many of our teams will advance to our state championship, but we do know it's going to be December 13th in Sparks as well in Las Vegas. Venues have already been identified. If you go to the calendar of events, you can see where those venues are. I will talk about in a few minutes how do you actually sign up for the qualifiers. So hold on to that. World Championship this year, first has actually moved it back. It's to the end of April, and it straddles that May 1st month change. In addition to the World Championship, we should be, I'm not promising, but we should be getting invitations to open invitationals as well. All those announcements in terms of World Championship and the open invitationals, we should hear that information in early November. That's when first we'll start releasing out the spots that each territory, each region gets. Okay, I'm putting on my teacher hat for the moment because I really want to emphasize this point. So this will be on the test. My presumed first line of communication to you as coaches is our newsletters. Our newsletters, I'm trying to commit to, and so far I've been able to hold on to this, are going to go to you every 7th and 21st of the month. And the reason I'm doing that is First Nevada releases an overall newsletter on the 1st of every month. So I'm going to try not to line up to that. So on the 7th and 21st of every month, you should receive a newsletter in your inbox. That newsletter is my first line of communication to you about important information. Please make sure to read this. This is where I'm going to announce all of our events in terms of how do you register for it. I will announce things like if we have grants available to you, if we have any other special opportunities, like we have the museum special day in the South here for you. Those are all covered in the newsletters. Coaches, you're automatically added to our mailing list. If you're lead coach 1 or lead coach 2 on your team, we automatically add you to our mailing list. If you have other parents or other mentors or coaches that want added to the list, they can go to the First Nevada website, and on the homepage, if you scroll to the bottom, you're able to add yourself to our mailing distribution list there as well. Again, going back to the idea that there are 2 First out there, there's First Nevada and there's First Headquarters. You will get other email from First Headquarters. There's usually team blasts that come out about once a week. You'll see those as well. Great information, but they're more generic because they cover the entire world. The First Nevada ones, I really would like you to read those, please, because this is your key information coming to you about every 2 weeks. So do please read that. I'm going to make the dangerous assumption that you are, so please do read that. Other ways we like to communicate with you, these are all secondary to the newsletter, we have a private Facebook group. This has been going on for a couple years now. It's a great way for you coaches to hear secondary information, hear repeated information. This is not, if you're not on Facebook, you're not going to miss out anything that's not in the newsletter or during the coaches corners. But if you are a regular Facebook user, I would invite you to join our private Facebook group. We do put a lot of announcements on there. Again, it's a lot of repeated information, but sometimes hearing it in a second way really helps. It also reminds you of events that are coming up. Also, I do want to encourage you as coaches to post in it. If you are doing something special in the community, you want to share it, throw it in there. If you have a question, throw it in there. We will love to do it. I have adjusted the settings on the Facebook groups that you should be able to post freely without having the approval. We do ask that all the posts stay relevant to First and the programs around it. Last year, we started off a pilot year using Slack. This, very much like Facebook, is a way for you to communicate to us as not quite in real time, but pretty quickly. Not only is it a communication to us, it's a communication to each other. I love that we're starting to see questions posted on there and each other are starting to answer it. My vision for Slack is as a way to have a community virtually out there. So coach on this team can ask a question, and a coach on another team can answer it. Another coach is out there saying, hey, we're out there doing a car wash today. Hope you can stop by. Or, hey, we have this cool way to have the shared mission straddle the railing if you only have one table. Throw it out there. Share your best practices with everyone. That's what Slack is all about. I do want to emphasize Slack is not social media. This is really a communication tool. It came from the business world. You're not going to get spam. You're not going to get advertisements. It's really just a way for us to communicate with each other virtually. Both Facebook and Slack is designed for coaches. So we're asking that the kids stay off these platforms. We do have an approval process to get into both of them. So we kind of filter out making sure the minors are not joining these two platforms. It's not that we do anything adult on there or discuss certain topics. It's just we really kind of want to keep it focused on the administrative, detailed side of running the team. We have other ways to work with you in terms of the kids. Our big announcement that I'd like to share with you as well is we have now released a First Nevada app. This is not quite, but pretty closely to being hot off the presses. It came out at the end of August. We are very happy and very proud of it. I am personally, and my son as well. It was my son and I developed this app, and Aiden's on here as well. He did this as a summer intern with First Nevada. It is still, I mean, I don't want to call it a work in progress, but we are still hearing some great ideas of ways to make this better. And we do have an update coming out shortly that will add a new feature that we got some great feedback from the community already. If you have ideas, please let us know. This is a growing thing for us. We do want to make sure it's a resource for you. Our philosophy in putting this app together is rather than have to go to firstinspires.org for one thing, firstnevada.org for another thing. Oh, there's this great resource out there. We're trying to make the First Nevada app your one-stop shop for everything. And it's mobile. So while you're practicing with the kids, go in there and pull up the setup guide or the robot game rulebook. Or if you forgot what time the coaches corner start, go into the calendar section. You can star the events and make it your favorite and be able to get information in there. Whatever you need, hopefully it's in there. And if not, let us know. We'd happily add it in there. Namely, I'll have Aiden added in there. But that's good. Great. I'm going to pause here, take a drink. Any questions so far? Go ahead, Bonnie.
I just had a question. We have 2 tables at our school, so we have 2 kits. One of the kits, we're missing pieces in, and they're like important pieces, like the loop thing. How do we get replacement pieces for that again? I know you've told us.
That's okay. So if you go to firstlegoleague.org, actually the best way to do it as a veteran coach, I'll tell you, go to where the build instructions are on firstlegoleague.org, and right above the list of all the like PDF files, there is a phone number for you to call about getting replacement parts.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. And let me see if I can do this real quick. Boom. See that? Try that link, Jennifer. Hopefully that'll be a quick one there. Yeah, go ahead, Leah. Leah, go ahead and ask your question.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Yep.
Luis, nice to see you.
Yeah, good seeing you again.
So excited for this season. I have a question. We have a new coach in our school, and taking over of the team all electric Eagles. And then our new coach, basically I am going to be co-coach for that team, and he's be my co-coach for my team, because he does have lots of experience in electronic engineering and an engineer. I definitely need to also receive help from him. So in that case, when we are going to qualifying number 1, when we go to judging room, can we just go with our team as long as we have parents and volunteers to watch the team that they already did their fingerprinting through our school?
Yeah, and now, I mean, it sounds like you've already got a great plan in action, and I would suggest that's the best way to go, so that both of you can go into the judging room or be with your team for judging while the parents watch the second team. That sounds like a great plan. We do ask that we always have an adult with the team. It doesn't have to be the coach. So yeah, a volunteering parent. And in fact, this year, and I'm not going to dive into it too much, but you can this year add other roles to your team roster, which would be parents.
Admin.
Yeah, but
parents,
yeah, and you can add there's new roles they've defined, and you could add them on there if you feel, especially if they're getting someone involved with the team. So that's another option. So yeah, you have a great plan, and say stick with it. Yep.
So while the team is in judging room, there might be a chance that other team is at the game table at the same time.
Yep.
Oh, okay. So therefore, we need to watch the time and the schedule at the time to see how it works. Okay.
Yep. And
so I just wanted to know if it's okay.
And as of right now, we're going to basically repeat how we run our events. we'll see if anything changes in the next 2 months. But yeah, since you're a veteran coach, you've seen how the events run. We don't have any plans to make any changes to it. So unless something comes up that we didn't think of or have a new suggestion. So you kind of have an idea of what you're getting into this year with that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a good question. All right. So what I want to do is transition here. Again, going back to the idea that there's First Nevada and there's First Headquarters. I've kind of talked about the resources First Nevada provides. And again, that's things like your coach training. That's things like Facebook, Slack, our First Nevada app. Those are all there to support you in getting your team through the season. Now I'm going to shift to what does First Headquarters offer to support your team as well. Well, I want to dive in. The first thing, I got to stop saying dive in. I got to start digging in. Yep. The first major resource that you really need to be aware of, and this is especially important for the innovation project, is that team engineering notebook. The engineering notebook is designed to be kind of a diary, a journal, a guide for getting you through the season. Now, it's not a requirement, so you don't have to bring a complete engineering notebook to an event, but it does provide you information, and the most important piece of information it provides your team is the innovation project prompt for the year. But it is a resource to help your students kind of gather their thoughts, record them down. It's a really good tool that I want to make sure everyone's aware of. When you register your team, you get a couple copies of this. You can also access the digital version using the QR code there. The digital versions are free, and so it's not like the password protected after that. But I do want to point out, this is really your main guide, your resource for the kids. They're the ones that should be using engineering notebook. Make sure especially to read those early pages to discuss that the innovation project. In parallel to the engineering notebook is your guide, the team meeting guide. This is designed for you, the coach. I show here on the screen, if I go back and forth, the engineering notebook, you see it shows like session 5. I just grabbed a random session. The team meeting guide, it takes that same look, that same exact engineering notebook, and it just wraps around it additional information for you. So this is your kind of student learning plan. This is your student guide, if you will, to support you at the meetings. This, again, you should have gotten a hard copy when you registered your team. There's also digital versions available using that QR code there. This is a great resource for you to get things going in terms of maybe you're a new coach and you're not sure what should you be doing during practice. The activities outlined in the team meeting guide is kind of a great way to get started. As a veteran coach, you have the option of completely ignoring this and doing your own thing, or maybe you go in there and pick out the best parts. The team meeting guide is not a requirement like the engineering notebook, but it's still a very useful resource. If you're a new coach here, I highly recommend going through and kind of using the team meeting guide as your guide through the season. Now, one of the questions I usually get is, how often and when should we practice? Well, it really is up to you. As a coach, you know your team, you know your school if you're affiliated with the school, you know what resources you have available to you as a team. I will say this, the team meeting guide suggests that the team meets about 12 times, with each meeting going for 2 hours. This is only suggestion. But the material and the way First designs the First Leg League Challenge program is kind of under this assumption that you're going to meet for about 24 hours over the course of this season. How you choose to divide up that 24 hours is really up to you. The team meeting guide does say, hey, why don't you just do 12 meetings, 2 hours apiece? A lot of our other teams love to do 2 meetings a week at an hour apiece, or you might do something else. The one thing I would recommend as a best practice is make sure you meet regularly throughout the season. Don't wait until that moment in October when you remember you have a qualifier coming up to start meeting more often. You really just kind of want to pace yourself. This is more of a marathon than a 100-yard sprint. So do make sure you are meeting quite regularly through the season. Now, if you do follow the team meeting guide, or if you're pulling out the best parts of it, I do want to remind you that FIRST has a set of slides to go along with its recommended meetings. Although, again, you don't have to use exactly those meetings, but there are slide decks available to you with resources in it. So if you want to have something to project on the wall while the team is meeting, these slide decks are really helpful. They're colorful, great visual way to get the students thinking and inspired about the task at hand. They're all free. I do have the QR code in there. If you're familiar with it already, it's the firstlegoleague.org website. It's hosted there. All the slides are ready for you to go for the Unearth season. So I do recommend you jump over there and grab those. One thing that is kind of a little frustrating, and I do want to give you this little behind the scenes tidbit. Before you jump into the team meeting guide, it kind of assumes, it really does assume that your team has already built a robot. There isn't a moment in the team meeting guide in a series of meetings that it has you build a robot. It kind of assumes your team has built a robot before that first meeting. And the reason for this is you're actually allowed to use different generations of the Lego robot. You could go back to the Mindstorm days or use a Spike robot, which is the most common one now. So it didn't want to be committal about which robot your team is building. So just know you do have to build a robot ahead of time. On the left there is the basic driving base model that a lot of our new teams start building with. It's the robot that we will build during a Robot in a Day workshop. On the right is the advanced driving base that a lot of our newish, middle, and even some of our veteran teams run with. It's a good, sturdy robot, something you can kick around and it'll bounce right back up. The build instructions are available to you on that QR code there. It's also built into the Spike app if you download the competition unit first. So these are some great starter robots. You do not have to use these robots. You are welcome to have an original design. As a former coach, though, I will tell you that it's a dangerous rabbit hole to send the team down there. So if you go after a unique design, make sure you have some constraints and boundaries ready for your team. Okay, pause again. Any questions about the team meeting guide and what it's designed to do to help you as a coach? Oh, that's right, Lee. But they did make it, you get 10 engineering notebooks and you have the option of buying additional engineering notebooks if you wanted more hard copies. Yeah. Good. Cool. Any questions? All right, let's move more into sort of the robot game, but I just want to talk about more of the challenge resources for you. So another confusing point that happens with First Lego League is there's two essential websites that you're going to go to when you're trying to gather information about the challenge itself. There is the main First Inspires website, and this is the website that tells us information about all the FIRST programs, how to start a team. It tells us information about First Lego League, First Tech Challenge, First Robotics Competition. It is the centralized website for everything. And if you only went to that first website, you're fine. However, First Lego League is an international program. And the way it's operated around the world, not to get into too much technicality, is a little bit different in different places. So like I was talking about earlier, First Nevada is a nonprofit that delivers the First Lego League program in Nevada. If you were to go to different parts of the US or different parts of the world, it's delivered much differently. And for that reason, there is a separate website called firstlegoleague.org. They are both official websites. You could go to either or of them, get basically the same information. It's just going to be presented in different ways. And in fact, if you have already started building your mission models this year, you know that no matter how you get there, you're always getting up at the First Lego League website because that's the only place that actually technically has the build instructions. Even if you go to the first website, it funnels you over to First Lego League. Just to let you know, they're both valid. They're both official websites for the program. You can go to either of them. Personally, I just go to firstlegalleague.org now because the way it's presented is nice, cleaner. But if you were to go to that first website, firstinspires.org, the key page for us as registered teams is that challenge updates and resources page. On here, you're going to find hyperlinks to the team meeting guide, that engineering notebook, the robot game rulebook, which I'll talk about in a moment, all the updates. You do see there's mission model build instructions there, although technically when you click on it, it sends you to the other website. It has a wealth of information. In future Coaches Corners, we're going to open up some of those resources on there to make sure you're aware of them. Things like the judging rubrics, make sure you're looking at those. There's also important videos on there, like the field setup guide. These are all very helpful, and I do want to make sure you're all aware of it. Do bookmark this page. This is First headquarters. And remember, I was talking about earlier, they're the ones that developed the game. So you're going to go to this website when you're thinking about rules or actually something specific to the Earth Challenge itself. You're not going to find information about how to register for events here. That is what First Nevada is for. You're not going to find information about the workshops here. Again, this website is designed for all the specifics related to the rules of the Unearthed game and challenge itself. As I did mention earlier, there is the firstlegalleague.org website. This is what it looks like. It's set up a little wonky, I think, at first, because it does all three divisions of First Lego League. There is Discover, Explore, as well as the Challenge program that we're talking about today. What you'll want to do right away is bounce over to the Season tab, which is listed at the top, and then you'll find a menu, as I showed there on the right, of all the key information. Thankfully, it defaults to First Lego League Challenge, but if you are involved with Explore or Discover, just make sure to click on that green box or that purple box if you're doing one of those other events. Like I said, it does default to the challenge one because that's where most people go to that website for. All right, at this point in the season, one of the most important resources you need to grab is the instructions for building those mission models. When you get your kit, what we call the challenge set, you should receive a very long cardboard box, and it says Lego on it. And in fact, I think it even says toys on it. Inside of it is going to have your rolled up mat, as well as bags of Legos for building all of the mission models. If you're familiar with Lego, just on the commercial side, it has a very similar vibe where each of the bags are numbered. You work your way from bag 1 through, I think it's 21, 22 this year. Do keep in mind, though, that some of the bags are unnumbered, and those bags share parts across multiple mission models. So make sure to, what my suggestion here is, only open up bag 1, start there, and only open other the bags when you're instructed to do so. If you open up all the bags and mix things together, parts disappear and they get mixed up or reused in the wrong way. So follow the instructions closely. Where you get those instructions for, again, if you go to that firstlegalleague.org website, under that First Lego League Challenge section, there is building instructions. You click on the menu on the right, it opens up, and then you get to a list of all of the build instructions. By the way, you can't, maybe you can see it depending on your resolution. That's your question to where do you contact information about missing parts? It's right here. And I see that Karen already put that information in the chat for us, but that's where you are. If you have any questions about missing parts, that's where you'll go. Yep.
Hey, Rubo, can I just mention for those that haven't started building missions, just because the mission page says like model 1, that doesn't mean that it is mission 1 in the on the mat. So you really have to like know what those missions are, because model 1 directions does not mean mission 1.
Yep.
Unfortunately.
And yeah, and you'll see, I think, like I said, I think it's 21 or 22 bags, and some of these models take multiple bags to build. Yep.
Yeah, there's a couple models that take like 3 different bags to build, plus like 4 different extra parts.
Yep. All right, to get on my soapbox again, I'm almost living up there right now. One of the most important documents that we want the teams to read, and when I say teams, I'm really thinking here of the kids a lot, is the robot game rulebook. This is your most essential document when it comes to explaining the rules of the robot game. Now, later in a different coach's corner, well, I'll remind you that the robot game is only a quarter of the overall part of the First Lego League program, but it is the most visual part. The robot game is the thing we do in the gym with the music going, the MC. It feels like a sporting event. And so it has an extra sort of glimmer to it. What I want to do is make sure you understand that the robot game rulebook is your most important resource for explaining the rules for the robot game. It is assumed that all teams have read it and know it very well. Unfortunately, we have this year after year. A team will arrive at an event expecting or thinking that what they're doing is correct, and then we can point to the rule book and say, no, you're actually in violation of this rule. So it's very important that you understand, especially the early part of the season, as you start thinking about creative ways to solve the robot game missions. Does it violate a rule or not? Always go back here. Now, unless it says explicitly don't do something, be creative. You can do things. If it doesn't say you can't do it, yeah. So, but be careful. Some of the rules are generic rules that happen for the entire match. Some of the rules are specific to scoring a certain mission. So do need to read this cover to cover. Also, not everything was known when this was printed. So as I'll talk about in a future Coach's Corner, there are also challenge updates that are official rules as well. Those are emailed out. I will also cover them in future Coach's Corners. We'll talk about them at the workshops. Those are official rules, so do make sure you're looking at those challenge updates, which cover both the robot game and the innovation project as needed. So do make sure you're reading this. Now, I say this year after year. Coaches, you should probably read this once, maybe twice through to know what's in here, to know what are the resources, the general rules. Really, the kids need to be the experts on this. This has been designed, the Robot Game Rulebook, to be accessible to our younger generation. They should be able to read through this and comprehend everything explained there. It is a very visual document as well, very simplified terminology to help them work their way through this. So coaches, put this in the hands of your kids and let them read it and let them be the experts. They're also going to be the ones asking the questions at the table. Great. I'm actually at a good stopping point here for questions. Aaliyah, you just put your hand up. Go for it.
No, sorry, that was a mistake. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're just waving. That's okay. Hi. That's great. I see a couple questions. One here. Grants. Yeah. So, and thank you, Aaliyah, for pointing out. If you hadn't had a chance to, and I know our coaches come in throughout the season. We've had a couple of newsletters go out already with information about grants to support the team. Do go back and read those. Maybe at the end of the night, I'll be able to quickly pull a link to that, to our old newsletters. We do have all the newsletters archived in there as well. Donors Choose is another option. There is actually a Donors Choose for first teams as another option for you as well. If you're on the younger age group, K through 5, the OSET department, as part of the governor's office, has grants for the K5 level. So there's an OSET grant out there as well. Yeah. Elizabeth, let's see, on the FLL challenge. Yes. So Elizabeth brings up a very good resource, and I didn't have time to go through tonight. If you are on Facebook, you should also join the FLL Share and Learn group, which is kind of the de facto forum for everything for FLL. So definitely, if you're on Facebook, I would highly suggest you join the FLL Challenge Share and Learn group. It is outstanding. Yeah. Great, great. Any other questions? I have one last section. It's gonna be a short one to
What?
go through. Oh, go for it. Nope, I'm done.
Is that what?
Go ahead. Fire away. Dallas, do you have a
Bucket turn
question?
looks awesome. The only thing I would say, and we don't really practice bucket turns. There might be a day or two. You and Evie are basically my two bucket turns. Okay, so there might be a day or two where I can pull you aside and we'll work on it a little bit. The only thing that change about your bucket turn is just.
Oh, yep. I'm not sure we're supposed to hear that conversation. So, Kim, go ahead.
Thank you for all the information. Also, before you said the governor's office, you said OSAT, so the acronym is OS as in Sam ET, correct?
Yeah. Oh, and I'm complete. It says Office of, what does the S stand for? Information and Technology. Yeah, it's with the Nevada Department of Education. No, excuse me, not. It's not. It's through the governor's office. Yeah.
Oh, so OSIT.
Yeah,
Oh,
OSIT. Yeah.
so that is
There we go.
an audit, and you said the donors choose, correct?
Yeah, and donors choose. Yep. And both of those were also discussed in a recent newsletter as well. Yep.
Okay, and then another question I have is so the donors choose, sometimes the program has to be established before we get the funding to get the clientele. So what is your recommendation for getting funding before it actually technically activates?
Right. Yeah. So the good news is FIRST has been around for a long time. And so the recommendation is actually you'll fill out it's a Google form or it's a Microsoft form that headquarters has put together. And what that does is it kind of authenticates you as a FIRST team, if you will, which gives you some of that, exactly what you're asking for, kind of like clout to show maybe the team's just forming and you don't have that history yet, but FIRST has. And so what you do actually is when you set up your donors choose ask, you would put it into this FIRST web form. And I think Scott's putting the campaign in there for the last newsletter, which explains some of this. That way you can get it recognized as being part of the larger FIRST community as a whole. So
are we able to register without, because we're doing kind of first through eighth, we're doing multiple teams, and I know parent has to be involved. And the 24 attendees. I'm just wondering how we activate and get it going before the upper elementary grades compete, the lower not so much. So there were just some burning questions that I think that you would know or have resources for. So I appreciate it in advance.
Yeah. So the best thing, actually, if you can shoot me an email, we can talk offline on some of the details, because when we start drifting into the other programs, I've got advice for, if you're working for a Legally Challenged, because of the dates of the qualifying tournaments in November, kind of takes priority in some of our decision-making process now, making sure you're established for that. When you start looking at the younger age groups, when you're looking at that 1st through 4th grade, we can be more casual in starting those up, because it's more of a rolling start to prepare. In fact, we can go into the spring as well. So shoot me an email. We can have a longer offline discussion about that.
Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah. And I see Scott there has been putting some of the campaigns into the chat. So definitely go back and revisit some of those for sure. All right.
This is the right time. Can I now ask you questions?
Yeah, go for it.
I didn't do mistake this one.
Okay.
I have a very good mix of 4th graders, 5th and 6th graders. And in order to create 2 teams, we're going to separate those. What do you recommend? Because I was thinking to have 2 or 3 6th graders and then mix up 5th and 4th, not just putting the grade level together, like 4th and 5th together, and then 6th together. So that was my idea, but I would like to hear from you based on your.
Yeah, no, and this is a common thing when schools have multiple teams is, and I've heard multiple solutions. One has to divide the kids up by the age group and have one, there's like a 4th grade team, a 5th grade team, a 6th grade team. That's usually the default one that a lot of multi-team schools go with. That doesn't have to be the only way. You could do a mixture of 4th, 5th, 6th graders. I've also seen situations where they do a girls team and a boys team. It really is your choice at the end. I would suggest think about what your long-term goals are, because if you're thinking about sticking with the program over multiple years, thinking about how the older age group can be mentored to the younger age group, and that might motivate you to have teams with mixed ages in there so the older kids can mentor the younger kids. So it really will come down to also the availability. Some of our older students start going into sports, especially as we get into the winter months. They might start playing a sport that kicks off in November, and their availability changes. So there's a lot of factors. I don't think there's a best answer for it, but I would encourage you to think about things like availability of your students. Are you thinking about having the teams last for multiple years? Maybe mixing it that way. Might have a unique situation with siblings involved as well. There's a lot of factors for you to think about, but there's no right answer and there's no wrong answer. As long as the kids are all actively engaged in their teams, then you're doing a good job as a coach. That's the key thing there. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, good. And it's a very common thing, and that's a good question to ask. I'm glad you did. I know we're coming up on the hour. I'm going to just kind of go quickly through a very simple set of slides, but there's a couple really important ones here I want to make sure to discuss. Going back to where we started, there are 2 FIRST organizations involved. There is FIRST Headquarters and there's FIRST Nevada. Both of us, we need some funds to operate. When you register your team, you're going to pay a fee to FIRST Headquarters. That makes you an official team. That gives you your team number. That also gives you the ability to buy the Unearthed Challenge set, receive your engineering notebooks and your team meeting guides. Those funds go out of our state and then go off to headquarters and help fund the development of future seasons and to offer the World Championship and whatever. Separately, First Nevada, we collect a season fee of $150. That supports your participation in things like our workshops, our scrimmages, the tournaments themselves, both the qualifiers and the championship. It also supports activities like this Coaches Corners. So it's important that you recognize that there's 2 fees involved and both of them do need to get paid. The first headquarters one, you pay that on the First Inspires website when you sign up the team. The First Nevada season fee, after your team is registered with headquarters, we have a list of information we get. We will send you an email. We'll send it to the lead coach. That will be an electronic invoice for your team to pay that $150 season fee. It can be done all electronically. You can just click on the button in the email, pay by credit card, which is the most common way to do it. Really important thing about this, you will get a receipt. And on that receipt, as I've highlighted on the right side of the screen, there is an authorization ID. You need to know that number because that number will then be used to sign up for your qualifier. Starting this Saturday at 10 a.m., I'm going to unlock the qualifier registration form, and you can then sign into this QR code. It was also shared in the last newsletter, and I'll also put it into Slack and Facebook. You will go to our Google form here, and you will sign up for the qualifier of your choice. You can only do that if you have that authorization ID from before, which means you have to have paid your $150 season fee. Now, the good news is you have any time after this Saturday to sign up. So don't feel like if you're not ready this Saturday to pay and have everything ready, you're okay. But we do fill our slots on a first come, first serve basis. So if everyone rushes to that last qualifier, it may fill up first. So if you have a highly preferred qualifier, do make sure to sign up for it earlier rather than later. We are limited on space, and so we do have to cap the number of teams at the event. A couple other things. All of the workshops have their registration forms open and available to you. You can get to them through the First Nevada calendar of events. You can get to them through the announcements, like I just posted in Slack today, the workshop for the Robot in a Day, as well as the Unearth kickoff celebration. Sign up your team. These are great, as we talked about, interactive, engaging workshops designed to get the kids inspired and to make sure they understand what is needed of them to compete in the first LEGO League program. During the Robot in a Day workshop, we are going to spend the morning part building that robot you see on the top left. We are then going to move on to learn how to program that robot. We're going to take mission 5, I believe it is, here, Who Lived Here mission. We're going to solve that together. And that is what the Robot in a Day workshop is. It is designed for our rookie-ish new teams, but we also recognize, especially with our elementary school, you constantly have new kids coming into the program. So veteran teams, you're definitely welcome to join us as well. On the exact same day, but after the Robot in a Day workshop is over, we're going to do our Unearth kickoff celebration. Now, I use the word celebration because technically Unearth kicked off way back at the beginning of August. But because school hasn't started and teams haven't formed yet, we're actually going to celebrate the Unearth kickoff in late September. During this brief, it's only a 2-hour-long workshop. We're going to discuss things related to judging. So we're going to look at the innovation project. We're going to look at core values, and we're going to look at the robot design part. This is designed for veteran and rookie teams alike. So if you're brand new to FIRST, you're still going to get a lot out of this. If you're a veteran team, you're still going to get a lot out of this. It is just in the afternoon on September 20th. It goes from 2 to 4 o'clock at the same location as the Robot in a Day workshop. In October, we are going to do our next level programming workshop, where we will discuss some kind of best practices and in-depth programming of the robot. So this is a morning only half-day workshop where we focus on what are the best practices using the Spike app to program your robot. You can register for this here. This is really, again, this is focused on the kids. So the kids will come to the event. You'll bring your robot, you'll bring a laptop. We'll have some of the Unearth challenge sets out, and we'll walk you through some of the best practices for programming that robot using the Unearth missions as kind of our reference. And then the last workshop that we have, I started talking about earlier, we are going to do an innovation project share-a-thon in both the South and the North this year. Formerly, it used to be the Innovation Project Share Night. Kept getting bigger and bigger. We thank you, Cannon, Coach G, Coach Vaughn, for everything you did in getting this established. Got such positive feedback. First Nevada adopted it, made an official workshop. We're expanding on it. It keeps getting bigger and bigger. Have a lot of teams already signed up for it. The idea here is that you will come with your team. We will work on bringing in some experts, some adult judges that can have an informal, casual conversation with them, hear about the current status. It does not have to be your polished final innovation project solution, but it's an opportunity to hear from an adult expert, give you some feedback to your team. That team can use that information to improve on an innovation project. If you are a veteran and you've looked at the rubrics, you know this is built into the rubrics. So we're doing a lot of legwork for you. It's a great opportunity for all of us to get together, hear about the amazing innovation projects, and give feedback before you fully compete in a qualifier in November. All right, one last slide. Kind of important, a change we're going to implement this year is that in prior seasons, all teams were required to turn in a roster at the qualifier and championships only. We're changing that this year. We're asking, pseudo requiring, you to turn in a roster at every in-person event your team attends. Right? This is something that we're trying to improve on, making sure we have everyone completing their consent and release forms early and being ready for the full competitions. But we also need to do this as we start getting more prepared in terms of potential emergency response actions. We need to make sure we're fully compliant with everything and understanding who's at our events, and hopefully it never happens, but if we ever need to address an on-site emergency, we're going to implement the team rosters at all events this year. As an incentive for you, every team that turns in a team roster at check-in, so that doesn't mean emailing it to us later or bring it to us in the afternoon. If you at check-in turn in a hard copy of your team roster, we're going to enter your team into a drawing. And at the end of the season, we are going to draw one Southern team and one Northern team to receive their registration payment for next season. First Nevada will cover your registration fee for next season from this drawing. So again, one of the big changes here is we are going to ask teams to turn in their roster at every event, in-person event this year. And to incentivize this, every roster receive will be an entry into a drawing to receive your registration fee payment for next year. And I do want to emphasize that. It's not a reimbursement of this year, it's for next year. Going a little fast there because I am over on my time. I really try to keep these at an hour or less. But this also was the most bloated, I don't know, it's the most information, let's just say. So that was my last slide of information. Open the floor to you. What question did I not cover that's on your mind? What can I clarify that I did talk about? Whatever you want to talk first related, let me know. Crickets. Hello.
A question.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, go for it.
I do have a question regarding location for qualifiers in Northern Nevada. Do we know already what location we're going to be playing?
Well, so when it comes to the qualifiers, you can sign up for the one that is best for your team. I will tell you, Carson City is Eagle Valley Middle School, and Sparks. Oh my gosh, why is it slipping my mind? Karen, can you help me? What? Sky Ranch, right? It's Sky Ranch Middle School, and then the championship is going to be back at Mendive Middle School, which we've been at their school a couple times. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure I have that on the calendar. If I didn't, let me know. Yeah.
I have a quick question about the rosters.
Mm-hmm.
If only half of our team is going to a workshop, are those the only members we need on the roster at that time?
I'm glad you asked that. That was a very good clarification question. Yeah, we understand that as the season progresses, students may come, students may go. And so what we just need is a roster as the best of your ability for that event. Now, when you get to the competition level, remember, you can only have a maximum of 10 kids on the team. So make sure that roster that we receive at a competition has only 10 kids on it. So before that, we're not officially competing. So you're open there. So I'm glad you asked that question. Just the best of your ability, turn in and complete a roster. We also, really important, need to see, it's a little small tight there, but we also need to make sure there's 2 adult coaches that have completed their consent and release and their YPP screening on your roster as well. Good question.
Hey, Rubo, do you have the directions on how to generate a QR code for parents to scan to register their kid? I cannot remember where I generated that QR code.
Try that really quick. And let me see. Here's the instructions for the lead coach. Use those links, and that should help you get the instructions on how to do that. Yeah. No, I didn't have time tonight. We're actually going to set aside for a future coaches corner to really hammer in how you go through this process of putting together. My suggestion to you is the easiest way to do is invite the parents to a meeting. Maybe at the end of the meeting, just for 5-10 minutes, just have them do locally right there. The express enrollment process now is so much easier. The parents can literally scan a QR code with their phone and do all the paperwork electronically right there on their phone. And something like 90 seconds to 2 minutes long is very quick and easy.
All right, yeah, those two helped, but
Great.
it's grayed out right now because my AP hasn't done her part, so I need to get with her.
Yes. Yep. Cool. Great. How are you guys feeling about the season? Are we excited? I mean, still a little nervous maybe, but I'm excited. I can't wait. Exactly. That's what I want to see. Hand clapping. Yeah. I'm looking forward to the season. I'm looking forward to seeing all the teams again. I missed you guys over the summer. Good stuff. Cool. We are over on our time. Like always, I will stay on as long as there's questions to be answered. I appreciate you giving me an extra 12 minutes here as I've flowed over a little bit. Going to work harder on the next 3 to make sure we're done in an hour. But if you need to run off tonight, by all means do. I will stick around on here until we're done. Appreciate everyone. Can't wait to see all the teams again. Good luck this season. Have fun. Definitely.